Manipulators will outright lie. John 19:14 through 15. And it was the preparation of the Passover, and about the 6th hour, and he saith unto the Jews, Behold your king. But they cried out, Away with him! Away with him! Crucify him! Pilate saith unto them, Shall I crucify your king? The chief priests answered, We have no king but Caesar. That was an outright lie. Now Pilate was probably tired of this by now. He didn't believe Jesus was guilty of insurrection or anything else. And he was probably poking a stick at him at this point in time. He was done, and he was doing a little provocation back. His provocation caused them to tell the lie that we have no king but Caesar. They didn't want to be under the Roman yoke. They thought it was oppressive. They wanted their own land. They didn't want Rome to be telling them what to do. And then they turn around and say, oh, well, we have no king but Caesar. Meanwhile, again, they expected the Messiah to come and set up the earthly throne of David there. And so the Messiah was supposed to be the king, and yet they're saying we have no king but Caesar. Liars. Now, lying can be another form of gaslighting. For example, I know of a husband whose wife suffered anxiety, and he actually replaced her anxiety medication with sugar pills. He kept telling her she was the crazy one. And when she found out, he said he didn't do it. Nobody else had access except the wife and husband. Manipulators have zero scruples and will say anything to justify their behavior. They say things like, that's not what I said, even though you're quoting them verbatim. Okay, this is what you said, and I quote. You could pull out your phone where you recorded them. No, oh, you just misunderstood me. That's not really what I was saying. Now, yes, there are times when somebody misunderstands and misquotes you. That happens too. And that can be an honest mistake, and sometimes you have to go, well, that's not really what I said. Let me tell you what I said, and you have to explain it. That does happen. But if you're pulling out the exact quote and telling them verbatim, this is what you said, and they tell you that's not what they said, that's manipulation. They're trying to make you think that you're crazy. I once went to the store for a roommate who told me, hey, can you get me some RC? Heard him very clearly. I know he said RC. Royal Crown Cola, that's what it stands for. I verified that he said RC. I came back with a 12-pack of RC. And he said, why did you buy that? I said Pepsi. He didn't say Pepsi. I verified it. I made sure of it. But he kept saying, I know what I said. And I kept saying, I know what I heard. Twice. I verified it with you. Found out later that the guy liked to argue. He would find any reason he could to argue with somebody. It was a hobby. I knew he said RC, but as soon as I came back, it was, no, I said Pepsi. It might seem to be a minor thing, but it caused no small stir with that dude. There is an account in which a husband went to talk to his pastor one night in tears. His wife had jumped down his throat about something he didn't do and something that was actually very minor. She just started screaming at him, and he had grown tired of this behavior. He went to the pastor. The pastor walked him back up to the house and asked the wife, who proceeded to lie to the pastor. She said that all she was trying to do was make her dinner, and he just started fighting with me. This guy had been put through the ringer for years, and he started to cry again. And amazingly, what the pastor did, he started rebuking the devil out of the husband for crying. Because she lied. The wife had lied. Somewhere, there is someone telling everyone they know bad things about you when they were the ones who went nuts and brought out the chainsaw. They were the ones who brought up the kerosene and tied you up. They were the ones threatening to light your nose hairs on fire. It wasn't you. And yet they're telling everybody that it was your fault. I know a guy with an ex who went through this. She was able to get sympathy from a lot of people he knew, but her own family didn't fall for it. She tried to get sympathy from her family. Oh, he did this and he did that and he's so horrible. And the response that she got from her family, don't try that, we know you. Whoops. Another Christian school study. And folks, I'm not trying to tell you not to send your kids to Christian school, but some so-called Christian schools are worse than the world's public schools. Check them out before you put 1 cent toward that place. In this school, the administrator had apparently given his daughter, who was also a student at the school, keys to all the classrooms where she could go into the teacher's room to get the answers to all the tests and assignments. Now, this had been rumored for years among the teachers, but nobody could prove it. The administrator flatly denied it until one teacher, who one of his daughters didn't like, came into his room one morning to find all sorts of unchristian things written on the board. The owner's daughter was able to get into the classroom with her friends and wrote and drew all those nasty things on the board. The teacher locked that door every day before leaving. At that point in time, he could not deny, this administrator could not deny that his daughter had keys to the classrooms. This administrator essentially did what he wanted. He wanted her to do well, I guess, and the best thing that he thought to do was to let her have the keys to the castle. Go ahead and go into any room. Here are the keys. Go into the rooms. Do what you want. Find out the answers. Whatever. And he denied, but then at that point in time, he could no longer deny.